us about the new Autism Parent Handbook that you've been involved with.
I was basically a year ago approached by a mum whose daughter is on the spectrum, who said to me, I want to write a handbook to be able to share with my local area across Perth, across Western Australia, that in effect is a guide for newly diagnosed families so that they don't spend months and months on the computer in the library trying to read everything they can find, trying to understand where they go on the journey from diagnosis. And so together we've worked drawing together all the different services and support across our region. Western Australia is about 1 million square miles in area landmass, with a lot of people living in the Perth metro suburb, but also people living out in rural, regional spots in very remote areas.
And what's the prevalence there, Iain? I'm sorry to interrupt, but what's the prevalence right now? Do you guys have numbers of how many individuals, what percentage have autism?
With these things, everyone quotes the US.
Okay. So it seems comparable to what we have?
Say again, sorry?
So it seems comparable to what we have going on in the US? It seems like the rate is about what we have?
Yes.
Okay.
And so in every 2 classes at least, there's one child on the autism spectrum in the schooling system. Mm-hmm. So the numbers are very comparable. The challenges and journey is exactly the same and equally multiplied if you're in a rural, remote area, that trying to find where you start your journey, where you go, and in fact, where you go from here, is what we've tried to draw together in this book. So we've pulled together all the support groups, all the services across this 1 million square mile area of, in fact, it's basically half of Australia, Western Australia. And what we try to do is to pull together in as informative and useful way for families and newly diagnosed families especially, within one 32-page handbook. With just today, the second edition has been launched today on World Autism Day. There are 10,000 copies that will be sent out across the whole of the state. They'll be given to those paediatricians and psychologists who are making the diagnosis. So when a family from now on in this region is told your child has autism, you're on the autism spectrum, whatever way they're told, they'll be given this book straight away as one of their first piece of information, their pack. So typically, as the lady Hayley Brandis, who I wrote this with, said, when she first started many years ago, she spent 6 months a year just trying to locate in our region what she could find, what was going on, where could she get help for this, that, and the other, where could she get funding help, support help, respite help. And she spent many months searching for this information, which should be readily available. And that took her away from helping and supporting her child and her family. So what we try to do is draw all this together into the one guidebook. It's full of numbers, full of information, full of little tidbits and support, and will save families months and months of work and research, because we know where the systems are, we know where the support groups are, we understand the funding, we understand the support groups across our entire state, and we've made that as easily and readily and freely available as possible. So the handbook will be given away free at diagnosis. It will be given to all those on all the various lists with various agencies. It will be sent to every school, we hope, across the state, thousands and thousands of schools. And Last November we printed 5,000 in our first edition, 5,000 copies, and we gave them away in 2 weeks. So we got a grant for 10,000. I'm hoping we'll get a grant for as many more as we need.
Well, it's a lovely bit of work, and I know that it will be so appreciated, and what a wonderful thing to do to make available in that moment the document that's really going to help connect people to services, to resources, to information. One of the things that you had sent me a quote about: the sense of isolation expressed by many parents of a child with autism can be even more intense for parents living in regional Western Australia. It does not have to be this way. Support is available, and so often from people who have walked the same walk. I think that is beautifully said, and what a wonderful thing to do. It's a great legacy that you're leaving, Iain. Really remarkable for those families, and I'm sure it will be greatly appreciated. And I hope you do get a grant to have even more printed.